We're starting the 12th episode of our series on renovating this small 80s wood frame house, which was completely rotten. I tore everything down to rebuild it perfectly. If you want to see the history of the work, I created a playlist and you have the link in the description, so you'll have the history of the work. And regarding the previous episode in which we started building the ceiling structure with the whole ice-over system, the hangers, the connectors, the fiberglass insulation that I installed in the attic with a thickness of 280 millimeters will be rolled out once the electrical wiring has been run through the ceiling, down into the wall linings and partitions. It's much simpler, and then all we have to do is roll out the fiberglass insulation. So the furring strips were installed with double-sided tape to put up the membrane. The membrane is the Isova Vario Extra membrane to ensure good air tightness, but I'll have to pierce it because I'm putting it under the furring strips instead of on top. That's what I explained in the previous episode. We have an issue in this house with the ceiling height compared to the floor, which is 2.52 meters originally, knowing that they had installed the 10mm drywall, which was nailed directly onto the trusses. There's no gap between the trusses and where the furring strips go. There weren't furring strips before, but I'm adding them now and only have 23 centimeters to run a conduit or cable. I can't lower it too much, otherwise I won't have a standard ceiling height anymore, and I also have to insulate the floor. So with everything I'm planning for the floor, leveling compound insulation and the finish, plus the height of my furring strips, I'll end up with a ceiling at 2.43 meters. Which is very good. Let's say it's standard, but I can't afford to leave a 10 cm gap between the furring strips and the trusses, otherwise my ceiling will really be too low. So there you go, that's the joy of renovation, like I said in the previous episode. So we're going to put up the membrane. The membrane, we roll it out. There's already double-sided tape, so it'll hold on its own. Next, we join the seams and we'll be able to install featherweight drywall. Drywall that's 2.60 meters by 1.20 meters ultralight. And for those wondering why the membrane sticks out so much on the walls, it's to connect the membrane on the walls with the one on the ceiling, using the same tape we used on the ceiling. So, we'll have a seal between the wall and the ceiling, and this membrane should even extend about 50 centimeters onto the floor, let's say. We'll fold it over onto the drywall for now, and it will really help us with the finishing. You'll see it's really super useful. We're starting a new van review after the Ford Transit Connect, now with the Renault Master 10 cubic meter version moving to a different size category. I'm going to film it from every angle, measure it in every way, the heights, the widths, the lengths, you'll know everything about it. I can do all these van reviews thanks to Somelac. Somelac is the largest Hertz franchisee in France. It's a small business based in Vienne. They have 40 years of experience in van and passenger car rentals. And even electric passenger vehicles. They're offering more and more of them. So I'll put all the links in the description about Somelac and all the agencies closest to you. There's a little map of France. You enter your postal code, the name of your city, and you'll find the agency closest to you. And of course, we have a promo code. 10% off your next van rental to enter on the Hertz website. The promo code is displayed right here. So just copy and paste it. You have it in the description and you paste it on the Hertz website for 10% off your next rental. The huge advantage of renting is that there's no commitment. You can rent a van either 3 cubic meters, 5 cubic meters, or 10 cubic meters by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month, or even for several months. And you'll be able to return it after a day, of course, after 15 days, after 4 months if you want, with no commitment. Insurance is included, maintenance is included. There are no surprises, no hidden fees. You rent a van, work, and return it when you want. And of course, at Somalak, they also have passenger vehicles, SUVs, sedans, small city cars, and even a range of 100% electric vehicles. And inside the Renault Master, you'll obviously find a lot of space, and above all, comfort. The seats are extremely comfortable for both the passenger and the driver. We've got the handy little armrest, the large screen where you can connect your phone, automatic climate control, and whether it's a manual or automatic transmission depends on the model you rent. The multifunction steering wheel with cruise control, the dashboard, and above all, plenty of storage. There are cup holders, trays, storage compartments on top. In the doors, we have retractable cup holders and a small tray that folds away on the passenger side. So you can work or place a laptop, and the passenger seat folds down so you can use it as a desk. Up to the loading sill, I get 3 meters. So we have a partition that has a notch, a step down. There, I can go up to 90 high, I still have my 3 meters, and then the notch starts to make a bit of a weird shape. And so at the shallowest point, I get up to the loading sill, 2.80 meters. It reaches 1.56 meters. Be careful with the handle, which is offset. So this handle is removable, but it's offset. 1.48 meters, and whatever happens, we're going to measure it here. Always go by the wheel arches. And at the wheel arches, we get 137 centimeters, and so in the widest area, we get 177 centimeters. And the width at the reinforcements is 140, and under the reinforcements it's 145. As for the height, under the door closures, it's 1.80. Under the reinforcement, it's 1.88. Above the reinforcements, we have 1.91 meters. So this time, we're going to measure the side door. We have 1.26 meters in width, but be careful with the offset of the partition and this handle. It goes down to 1.20 meters. And still at the side door, we get 1.76 meters, 1.77 meters in height. So we'll be able to strap and secure quite a few things because there are tie-down points everywhere. 2 at the threshold, 2 in the middle, 2 at the side door. We have 2 against the partition. There's 1 here, for example. So there's plenty to work with. So we're going to do the test with the famous boxes. They're as standard as it gets, equivalent to a moving box. 60 by 40 by 35. In the Ford Transit Connect, so in the previous video, we put in 27 bins or 27 moving boxes. Well, now we're going to do the test in the 10 cubic meter Renault Master. So I didn't expect to fit that many in. Let me explain. Because of the offsets in the partition, I really thought I would have to move them forward. But in the end, it fits. With the doors closed, I can fit 7 crates. 7 crates fit stacked 5 high, and you'll see that it's not over yet. So 5 times 7 is 35. I repeat the process a second time. 70 crates in 60 by 40 by 35 or 70 moving boxes. Of course, you can fill in the sides. We still have space. And when I say it's not over yet, it's because you can see that this crate is shorter than the others. It's the same size in length and depth, but it's 22, 23 in height. Well, I can store it. I'll show you up there. That means I can potentially fit 84 crates. So 70 at 60 by 40 by 35 and 14 at 60 by 40. But in terms of height, it'll be 22, 23. So I'll show you that it fits with the offsets of the partition. And here I've stacked all the crates. So we have 5 at 60 by 40 by the same, but it's slightly less tall. And I even still have some space on top. The 10 cubic meter Renault Master. The huge advantage is that you can stand up inside. There's a lot of space to make use of in this van. Next, we'll test an Opel Vivaro, which matches the Peugeot Expert, Citroën Jumpy, Toyota Proas, and Fiat Scudo. And we'll finish this video series with the Peugeot Expert in its electric version. All the links are in the description for Somela, which is the agency closest to you. Use the promo code shown here. Just copy and paste it from the description. There's also a link that takes you directly to the Hertz website, where you can enter your code. 10% off your next commercial van rental. With the membrane in place, we can now install the ceiling, but not with just any drywall. An ultralight BA13 sheet from Placo, the featherweight sheet. The featherweight sheet is a sheet that weighs 20% less than a standard sheet. You save 6 kilo per sheet, that's just huge. 6 kilo, to give you an idea, is like a pack of 1 liter water bottles. So that's the weight you save with this drywall sheet. You can install it on ceilings, partition walls or wall linings and sloped surfaces, as it matches standard drywall sheet performance. In terms of handling and manipulation, it's just the best. If you have a job site that's hard to access, you'll be able to handle the sheet very easily since it's ultra lightweight. And for professional installers, those who do this all day long, they're really going to feel the difference. They're always lifting standard drywall sheets. The difficulty of the job, musculoskeletal disorders, and so on, they're going to notice the difference. So this sheet is just the best. I still have the drywall lift here though. We're not going to do without it, but honestly, it's ultra lightweight. We could do without the left sheet if there are 2 people. So we take a sheet, put it on the left sheet, lift it up and screw it in. Next, we move on to installing 17 sheets. So, for now, I've attached the magazine to the drywall screwdriver. It's the LTSD 5000 on the Neuron platform. It's super lightweight. Of course, you can remove the magazine. Attach the standard bit to screw in the screws by hand. Ceiling, wall, you put in a screw, you take another screw by hand, you place it on top, you keep going. It can be done, but you lose a lot of time. Ideally, you use the magazine and collated screws. So collated screws look like this. You place it like this, and now you'll be able to quickly screw your drywall and save a lot of time. And once you finish the strip, well, you remove it. You get a new one. You put it back in the magazine, and you're ready to go again. So all the links are in the description. The screw gun, the magazine, the strips. There are several screw sizes, 25, 35, and so on. What interests me is removing the magazine. To remove the bit which I set aside, I take the extension and put it in place. So there we go, on the screw gun. This little tube works perfectly and makes everything look great. Look at that. There we go, it's clipped in. And at the end, of course, we'll have to put it on. The bit. There we go. And the magazine that comes like this, so I can adjust it. If I want to position it like this on the screwdriver, you see how it is. There we go, I can. For example, if I'm in a corner and it's in my way, well, I can. Of course, I can line it up straight with the screwdriver, and now it's perfect. Okay, so you put it in whatever direction you want. Same thing with the screwdriver, you can adjust the direction of the magazine. And here I have both feet on the ground and I can screw my drywall directly without moving a step stool or a ladder. Now the ladder is useless to me. You have the perfect combo between the drywall lift and the drywall screw gun with the magazine and the extension. It's ideal. Now, let me make a quick note about the drywall lift. Ideally, you shouldn't stand on it. You could stand on it and have fun holding on and screwing, but you shouldn't. But there's a risk of shifting your drywall panel without noticing it. And once you've shifted your drywall panel, you go ahead and screw it in. For the rest of the drywall panels, there will be a problem. You'll end up completely off track. So make sure your drywall panel is properly aligned with your furring strips. So, you prop it up with the drywall lift, you put in a few screws just to hold it in place, then you remove the drywall lift and keep screwing. But with this setup, I can leave the drywall lift in place. I'm going to put many screws into the drywall. Depending on the structure of the drywall lift, I climb back down. And if I forget a screw, I just put in another one. Simple as that. But here, I'm going to put in as many screws as possible with both feet on the ground. So I'm saving time as well. The drywall lift, mine is an Edma. So Edma or another brand, you can choose whichever brand you want. You can rent it instead of buying, rent by the day, week or month. If installing many drywall sheets in large areas, local rentals are available, such as at Petit Loutou or Leroy Merlin. If you're planning on 4 years of work, of course, buy one. You buy it. Once you've finished your work, you can resell it. It resells very well. And it's not equipment you'll wear out or damage over time, so it will be easy to resell. You can also rent a drywall lift, which prevents breaking drywall by trying to hold it yourself, even if it's lightweight. There's a risk of breaking the sheet, having it fall on you, injuring yourself and hurting your back as well, so you'll be able to work safely. Lift your drywall sheet, screw it in directly, then lower the drywall lift, and like I said, you're working safely. It works for sloped ceilings since you can tilt it, making it ideal. Okay, so now that we've seen the setup that works well, the perfect combo between the drywall screwdriver, the auto feed attachment, the extension, and the panel lift, we can say goodbye to step stools and ladders. And we can screw in our drywall panels with both feet on the ground.
So we
Pick up a panel of
Plaster as high as we can, of course.
in the right direction. So the printed side should face there. The drywall lift, or you'll install it upside down. We can lift the drywall lift. There we go. And we're off. We can put up the drywall. So as soon as we've put in enough screws, we can remove the drywall lift. So there we go. We unlock it. It holds on its own, so keep going. We keep screwing or move on to the panels, it doesn't matter. You can do it panel by panel when it comes to the screws. Or start by putting a minimum number of screws per panel and then finish screwing all the panels. It's up to you. I just made a huge mistake. Really huge. Well, huge, but it's not that dramatic since we're going to have to do the taping on the walls anyway. So no matter what, you'll see the taping. But here, the taping is already done, and you didn't see anything. Why? Because I thought, how am I going to film this? Filming a ceiling is always a pain. Taping isn't easy to film. You have to go from point A to point B. You have to set up the camera, you have to clear the floor, and then there's the banjo, because I wanted to do it with the banjo. You'll see, I'll show you. You unroll it quickly. I finished the entire ceiling in 20 to 25 minutes, including reloading the joint compound and other tasks. I had my DJI action camera, which is similar to a GoPro. Wearing it on my forehead was the best way to get that immersive view. You're immersed with me and I'm doing my taping. At least I don't have a camera in the way, no tripod, and I can unroll it all the way along. So I really filmed from A to Z. Well filmed, I thought I was filming, because with this type of camera, when you start recording, it makes a sound. When you stop, it makes a different sound. And so I do everything myself. I stop taping, I put down the banjo. I take the camera off my forehead, I press the button and I hear the sound of the recording starting. I say, no, that's not possible. Yes, I hadn't pressed the record button, so the moment I wanted to stop, that's when it started recording. So there you go, the taping is done, but you didn't see anything at all. So luckily I have some walls to work on. All right, now I'm going to show you which banjo I was using and which ultralight fiberglass tape, etc. But I'm really upset. I'm really upset. And also, I often stop the cameras. I don't like making videos that are too long, like 30 or 40 minutes, because there's always a risk of losing the file or having a recording error. And this time, there was one. So I always make cuts. This time, with the thing on my forehead and leaving with the banjo, I figured you'd see everything. We'll reload the tapes. You were right there with me. Yes, but to get that immersive view, you have to be filming. But that's the only problem, so there you go. Come on, I'll show you what we used. We'll get back to the taping when we do the walls. So, I put you on this step stool. By the way, I bought this step stool not too long ago. It's just awesome. It's a bit heavy, but honestly, you can extend it. It's great. I'll try to find the link for you and put it in the description. I have no regrets about my purchase. So, the banjo I used is this one. It's the Taptec. Before, I had the Delco. It's basically the same thing. So the advantage of the ultralight tape is that here we have 75 meters of tape. On a banjo, you can definitely feel it because a paper tape has its own weight. And once you add the compound, you're glad it's so lightweight thanks to the fiberglass tape. But we'll talk more about the banjo when we do the walls. That was my fault. I didn't record. You know the story. So the syringe lets you put the syringe in the bucket pump and inject the compound directly into the banjo. So banjo, syringe. Remember that. We'll talk about it again. You might know Fiberlight. It's an ultralight fiberglass tape. We have 75 meters. I used Fiber Fuse. It's the same thing except it's reinforced. You see there's a little mesh inside. It's a double layer joint tape for drywall. We also have 75 meters. So, reinforced. It works very well. That's not the problem. I wanted to test it to see if it would go through the banjo, and it goes through really well. So now that we've done it, well, you didn't see anything, but I did it. The ceiling tape is done. Now we can focus on the second coat. For the second coat, I'll use a roller, but it keeps shedding bristles. I'm so fed up. You know this one. I've shown it to you countless times. Well, we're going to try a roller. For facade work, I thought, why not? Might as well try it, and if it works, then it's going in the trash. And if it doesn't work, well, I'll let you know. We'll have to make do with it, and it'll lose its little bristles. The pole, the smoothing blade, we put on a good layer. And then all we have to do is smooth it out. So this roller works really well. No more plucking hairs out of the compound. After smoothing everything out, you're pleased with the result. It's mirror-like, though hairs remain everywhere. So at worst, just leave the hairs, you sand them. They'll go away, but you'll need to fill the gaps since small marks will remain in the joint compound. Some corrections are necessary. Also, the black roller with hairs is no longer used. Take this thick foam roller instead, designed for facade restoration. For exterior resurfacing for thick products, a bit like the joint compound I put on the ceiling, but it could be on a wall. You put it in the compound, you spread it on the ceiling, you go over it in both directions and spread the material evenly. Then you smooth it out and there are no more hairs. So, link in the description for this foam roller, which is just awesome. I'm going to keep working on the tape joints. I've put the tape on and done the first fill coat. Now I'll do a second coat with my foam roller and smoothing blade, just to correct the flaws from the first coat. I'll do it off camera. It's exactly the same thing. And then I brought the machine. It's right there. The Wagner ProSpray 339 Connect. I insist on the Connect. You'll see, you can adjust it directly. You can change all the settings from your phone. It's just awesome. The machine is on the ground floor. You're on the second floor. Instead of going downstairs every time, you just take out your phone and change the settings. So we're going to do a complete skim coat of the ceiling. As long as the partitions and the perimeter of the walls aren't done, at least there's nothing in my way. Once we've done the perimeter and put up the partitions, we stick the tape along the ceiling to partition and perimeter joints. So we do the compound touch-ups, the filling coats, and so on. And we'll do a second skim coat, always with the small machine that's right there. We'll have a perfect ceiling. And of course, we'll do the same thing for the walls. So make sure to remember the small roller.